Boy, it really doesn't want to let me hit OK. There we go. So we can go through here. I'm just going to clip this back to more of a square shape here. We're going to have a little bit more fun back here with the layer brush here. So one thing we can do with the layer brush, we can go to BLA. It's our layer brush again. We're going to put a square alpha in there, and you can just start using the layer brush. And by default, if you use the layer brush, you can hold down Alt and it'll only dig in a single layer. However, if we don't have a morph target installed, if we don't have a morph target stored, it's just going to keep building up. Same thing if we don't hold down Alt, it'll just keep building up in layers. So this can be a useful thing sometimes for like doing like paint flake edge wear and stuff. Another option you can do is if you go down here and you go to morph target store, it'll just build up to one layer and then just continuing to build up to that layer. So if you change your Z intensity on your layer brush, it'll build up and then build up and then build up. And then you can hold down Alt and it'll build down just to that one single layer. It'll keep you there. Actually, let's switch that to a circle alpha here. Now, one thing I like to do with the layer brush is, for example, I'm going to take this subtool, duplicate it, select it, go into your deformation menu, tool deformation. I'm going to inflate this like -2. And now what I can do, I'm going to go back to my original. So we basically just deflated this object right inside of there if I go into solo mode. So now, if we take this one here, let's go into solo mode on the deflated one, and really quickly we'll go in with Damien Standard, and we'll just hold down Shift as we drag, and we'll just put in some really quick bricks. So we're going to make this thing seem like it's made of something, like so, and then we just go through here, and we'll just hold down Shift and skip every other one here. Kind of offset this. Now there's a number of ways you can do bricks. This is kind of the quick and dirty way here, which is fine. I don't think anybody's going to care that much. And we'll go right down the middle here and then here. Again, we're just trying to make it look like there's something interesting going on underneath here. And then we'll turn on this original one. Now we can go into the BLA brush layer brush, and we'll hold down Alt and turn off solo. And now what we can do is when we start building down, let's actually deflate this a little bit more. -2. So now when we go in here, we can use clay brush here to kind of dig underneath. And now he looks like we got kind of some plaster stuff going on here. Let's deflate that a little. I want to get some real thickness in there. Let's deflate the hell out of this thing, -5. Oops, not that much. There we go. So now, yeah, we can start digging in there and we can see stuff underneath here. So if we go into our, again, our layer brush BLA, and we'll make sure this morph target isn't stored. So we'll delete that morph target. And now when we hold down Alt, we can start just chunking out layers here. So as we're kind of just digging down through here, we can kind of start building layers down to that surface here, which can sometimes be an interesting look. And of course, feel free to use any of the brushes to kind of do this as well. And then you can go in here with your standard brush if you want to do cracks. There's a lot of different crack brushes you can do. I'm going to crank my Z intensity up, go to stroke. What I like to do is crank my lazy radius up so I know it's on, and then hit L to turn it off. And now I can just hold down Alt and go through here and just start, you know, putting in little cracks and stuff like this, like so. And it's this pressure sensitivity is coming into play too, where you can kind of just dig in and then kind of taper off and just kind of wiggle your pin here and kind of start doing that stuff here. Let's see. Ever just have to do something scale inside of ZBrush or just set proportions and scale it? I do tend, if I'm working at a very specific scale, I will do it in the package that I need to, like Fusion 360 or Marvelous Designer, and then bring it into ZBrush. Just, yeah, exactly. Just because I want to make ZBrush consistent. So I'm just doing some quick rock stuff as we're kind of going through this. Cool. Yeah, exactly. Those bots are all over. I don't know how to. I need to go back in and tune his stuff. Ax says, I found a super interesting workflow to retain your original Marvelous UV map on the ZRemesh version of clothing. That's cool too. UVs is one of those things I just hate to even deal with. So I'll usually just end up, and I mean, it's not that I hate to deal with them. It's just that you know, UVing is something I do so much after the fact that I don't worry too much about UVs because usually I'll have to pack them in very specific ways. But Marvelous Designer does have pretty good UVs because when you're going into the patterns, you're just basically creating a flat version of your cloth and then wrapping it in the 3D view. So if you can maintain that, then by all means, go for it. Let's see. Whoa. Is this thing scrolling still? Cool. So yeah, we went over that. We got layers with Morph Brush. Okay, of course, the obvious one here is if we go, so we had our standard brush here, and we're going to use our standard brush to make cracks. So if I don't want to kind of ruin or overtake our standard brush, what I can do is go to standard brush here and hit clone. And now whereas this is going to be called standard 1. So if I hit brush menu here, you're going to see standard 1 sitting there. And now I can change this to like a drag rack, and now I can do alpha dragging here. So if we want to, you can just drag patterns out here. We're going to change our focus. So if we drag this out, you're going to see it kind of starts to taper off at the ends. That's our focal shift kicking in. So I'm going to change that focal shift to -100, and that'll keep our alphas nice and sharp here, like so. So we can hold down Alt and dig in, or we can not hold down Alt and press out. Of course, if we want to, we can go to my comma key here, go to our alpha menu, and these are a bunch of alphas I've downloaded from the various websites, as well as, oh, that reminds me. So let me go to the Advanced ZBrush Workshop here, and we got the rock pack here. So let's see if I can figure this thing out. Intro video miscellaneous about this rock. So what's in the rock pack using the brushes? We've got a tutorial on using it. So I'll send you guys here. As again, I got, let's see, go to my messages here. He sent me, let's see, pack of 50 custom brushes for rock creation in ZBrush. Let's see if I can go ahead and check out real quick. And I can go ahead and load these up here. So we can start here, resources. Brushes. This is where I am right now. I'm going to see if I can load these things up. He's got some really cool brush alphas on here. I just got to figure out how to check out. Let's see. Start here. I have no idea how to get these things. But just to talk about this at least, I can go over here to our rock. So I've got some rock alphas. I think I downloaded these from the Pixologic website. And then if you get some cool rock alphas, what you can do is just kind of go through here, double click these alphas, and now you can just drag these things out. Of course, you're going to probably want to drop your Z intensity down, and you can start dragging out rock alphas here. Let's see, you can make your own rock alphas if you'd like. Let's try this one here. Just double click those, it'll shoot it over here. And now you've got these rock alphas, so you can kind of start just getting some nice surface noise here. Or if you crank the intensity up, it'll go ahead and just start putting that stuff in. Of course, you don't have to do a drag rect. You can do this spray alphas if you want. You can kind of spray that in or hold down Alt. You can drag rect, you can drag dot if you want to just maintain your brush size here and just kind of drag those alphas out as well. Cool. Let's see. Cool. You were constantly making tutorials. Any reason behind that? Not really. It kind of keeps me, when I teach, it keeps me learning things. So that's kind of a reason I do it, I suppose. Showing bricks is very cool. I have any videos showing any kind of tricks like that? I do. I'm trying to think if I have rock stuff. I have a bunch of just videos on here. And of course, you want to download them. You can go to my Gumroad page. Let's see. And Cube Brush page. Some of them, most of them are free, but you can check these out if you're interested. And of course, the Twitch TV channel and stuff there. But yeah, I don't have anything super specific as far as rock techniques. Now, another technique we can do besides drag alpha is if we go to BI brush insert, there is Claude, and I thought there was bricks in here somewhere. Yeah, insert multi-mesh bricks. So you can actually create a bunch of insert multi-meshes and just start dragging these out as well. So you can just kind of go through here. If you want to cycle through these bricks randomly, which you can do as you're dragging them out, as we'll go our brush menu here. This menu is getting a little bit long. We hit R. And let's go into our modifiers here, and we can do multi-mesh selector, variations. So if you hover over any of these things, it'll tell you a little bit more information. Slider allows you to cycle through meshes, so I'm going to set this to 1, and now it's just going to cycle through, and then variations, number of meshes ZBrush will variate through, and then this one will say we can do static, cycle forward, cycle backwards, or random. So we're going to set variations to 3. Let's see, 3 here, and now it should just drag out random bricks from that library. Now some of them are pretty similar. If you wanted to make your own brick, we can go to just go brush insert cube. You can just throw a cube right on here, and then we can just go ahead and split mask points, and then that'll inherit our Dynamesh property. So we can just really quickly go through here, and let's turn off lazy mouse, and we'll turn our square alpha back on here, and we'll go ahead and shrink this down here. So we can kind of just start diving this up, or BTO, BT, trim smooth border BT, or if you've loaded it in, make sure you got the square brush, and let's go ahead and change this back. So now we can just kind of make our own insert mesh brick, and you can do all the variants in the world that you want to. But once you get your insert mesh going, let's see, you're probably going to want to make it as low resolution as possible. So the quickest way to do that is just Z plug in here, decimation master, preprocess current, and we'll drop this down to like 2K. Hit enter, and now it's a really low res rock. So now when I go to brush, hit B, create insert, whoops, not multi-mesh, go B, create insert mesh brush, new, and now you've got a new rock insert mesh brush, like so.